When did you get out of Syria? How long has it been?
A month ago or 3 weeks.
Were
Three.
you in Aleppo the whole time, or did you get?
Actually, before I left to Europe, I left to Lebanon. I left to Lebanon
Oh, okay.
to get the visa. So I left Syria about 1 month, and before 2 months ago I left to Lebanon and I applied for the visa. And last month I went there to Lebanon to get the visa, and then I flew to Europe, to Spain currently.
And so you're in Barcelona. You were, I mean, what was it like? You were in Aleppo. Obviously, there was a lot of fighting
Wow,
going on. What was it like
very
in
big
recent
step.
weeks?
Very big step. Now I can, yeah, you can't imagine that I didn't have electricity, water, internet access, and mobile phone networks. Now I have all these stuff available, which is quite a turning point for me. Which is like, sometimes I didn't have electricity for more than 5 days. Now I have electricity all the time, so I can't believe it.
Well, you
No, you can't feel that now. There are many things you can get for granted.
well, and I mean, you were
You didn't
living.
realize that before.
You can walk around, safely
Yeah, yeah,
without.
yeah.
I mean,
But
what?
still, I am quite. I fear like I fear to go at night. Still, yeah,
Out.
because 2 years ago, I didn't go at night or after the sunset. I usually don't go from my apartment, and still here after the sunset, I usually don't go.
Are
Still, I
you?
still feel the fear.
Are you? Yeah, you still feel the fear. Are you seeking help at all, or I mean, this is probably. I imagine this is common. You've just come out of a war. They talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, and you know, the as you just said it. Still feeling the fear, and here you're out of Syria, out of Aleppo. You're in Spain. Um, have you sought help? Have you thought about seeking help at all, or treatment,
No, no, indeed not.
counseling, or?
No, no. Actually, it's just because I spent 2 years without going out at night, and then when
Yeah.
I came here, it's unusual for me like to go out at night. So sometimes I feel, wow, it's night, but I can go out. But why wouldn't I? But I feel okay, it's better now because I registered at the university here, so
Oh, okay.
I have to follow up my studies. So it's better. But I went once with my friends at night, before midnight, of course.
Yeah. Well, how's your family? Are they still in Aleppo, or how are your
Well,
parents?
my mother and my sister still in Aleppo. My father went to Turkey. My brother is in Jordan.
And what about your mother and sister still being in Aleppo? Are you in contact with
Yeah,
them? How are
s-
they? How are they doing?
well, it's quite difficult actually to get in touch with them since the connections there are not always available, and they didn't have internet for more than a month, but recently, 3 or 4 days ago, they got the internet available, so I was able to communicate with them. But that doesn't mean that the internet is available for 24 hours. It's just available for maybe 2 or 3 hours per day, and sometimes it's not available. So I was able to get in touch with them and hear the latest news about in Aleppo. Actually, it's still unsafe there living. People are still afraid from going at night, or at least during the day, because you don't expect when a bullet comes to you, when a shell, when a bombs, any kind of explosions that might happen during your way. So still people don't feel, and especially those areas which are the borders between the government and the opposition groups. So those borders are like, nobody moves or nobody walks there or nobody even tries to go there. It's very dangerous. So it's like just a border, just there are snipers and there are like armed people waiting for each other to kill each other sometimes. So if a person walks there, he will be killed
Do
without any doubt.
wh- what do you think? I mean, how can anyone know what will happen? A few weeks, a few months from now. But do you have any thoughts of where things are headed, or how
Apparently,
this should end?
yeah, I always like read the news.
Mm.
The situation is further complicated, especially in the north of Aleppo, because it's now under the control of both like opposition groups. One of which is Al Qaeda, and the other is the Free Syrian Army. And it seems to me that those two groups, which are against the government, and still they are fighting each other. So Al Qaeda is now fighting the government and is fighting the Free Syrian Army, which makes the situation further complicated in the countryside of Aleppo. And even in Aleppo, it happened last week that I heard in the news that there were like fighting between Al Qaeda, which is, if you heard about it, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. I think you heard about this.
Yeah.
This is a group. Yeah, this is a group was trying to gain Aleppo, but so there were like fightings between the Free Syrian Army and the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. But fortunately, the Islamic State left, because actually, when I tried to leave Aleppo, I left to the countryside and I spent there 2 days, and I lived with a town related to, which was under the control and still under the control of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. And even though it's under the control of them, but people there don't really like them, because you are forced to pray, you are not allowed to listen to music, but you are a free person, you can do whatever you want. Your God, you will, like, in the afterlife, or God will, like, will punish you, not them. You are not allowed to listen to music, or you are not allowed to do whatever. Yeah. For example, you are a free person, you can do whatever you want. So people there, actually, in the town where I lived for 2 days, or stayed for 2 years, for 2 days, didn't like don't like the those people who are controlling them.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, giving us an update. We've been talking now for I'm trying to remember how it goes back to the early days when I remember you first called the day there was 2 bombs went off at the security buildings in Aleppo, and I think that was your first
Wow,
call.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was when was that? Do you recall what?
Maybe February
Uh,
2012,
February
right?
of 2012. Yeah, February of 2012, and we've
Exactly.
talked to you a few times since then, and I'm glad to hear you're safe, and I hope
Thank you.
your family is able to stay safe, and good luck to you, and
Yeah,
keep giving us
still,
updates.
of course, we will stay in touch.